state budget is now about a month late. Buffalo Acting Mayor Chris Scanlon's budget for the city is reliant on what's in the state budget. As we know, the city is facing about a $70 million deficit.
Joining us now to talk about both of those budgets is State Senator April Baskin. Senator, thank you so much for joining us on this Monday afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, let's talk with the state budget right now. Is there anything to announce at this hour here late in the day on Monday? We know that an extender has kept the state in business through tomorrow. Any more news that was developing out of Albany today?
We are hopeful. We are definitely much further to getting close to a deal and a budget being done than we were a week ago. Conversations sound promising. We know that some of the things that have held us up is the governor's proposals on discovery, mental health confinement, and consequences for committing crimes with a mask on. And it does seem like there has been some language that has been introduced to find a compromise in those spaces. And so I am hopeful that we are just a few more days away from having a budget.
All right, very good. Nice update there. Last week, you sent a pretty lengthy letter out mentioning that Chris Scanlon, you have tried to contact his office several times. You had said in that letter he had apparently asked his constituents to reach out to you to pass certain proposals that he would like to see in the budget here in Buffalo. First of all, I want to ask, have you heard from the acting mayor yet?
No, the acting mayor and I have not had a conversation about his social media requests at this point. No.
Okay, and then what do you think of those two proposals? Obviously, those are reliant on what happens in that state budget. Have you heard anything? Are those going to get passed in the state budget, do you believe? And that is the 3% bed tax, and he also wants to sell parking ramps in Buffalo.
Yes. At this time, we're still reviewing the proposals. The county executive has come out and at today's Buffalo Control Board meeting noted that, there are some concerns with the acting mayor's proposal. I'm inclined to trust the county executive's opinion. As you know, I recently worked with him in my professional career. It was reported in the Buffalo News over the weekend that he has over a $26 million surplus in his budget. So, when he sees red flags, I do think that we should all pause and listen. And the city of Buffalo's comptroller has also gone on record and said that she has questions about the acting mayor's proposal. And so I'm not alone in wondering, how exactly the acting mayor came to the revenue streams and the projected outcomes that he thinks producing a 3% bed tax and selling off assets that currently make the city millions of dollars in exchange for hopefully making more money in the bond market. That is risky. And so I do know that we in the state Senate are still reviewing the acting mayor's proposals.
Before you were elected senator, you, of course, served a long time on the Erie County Legislature, first elected in 2017, of course. I'm curious, since your time on the Erie County Legislature, including as its chairman, we never heard anything about Buffalo's budget, particularly to this extent. Can you tell us why you are sending this letter now?
Well, my job as a county legislator was to oversee the county's budget, which was consistently balanced. And in my response, in my statement that I issued a couple days ago, which can be found on my Senate website, I also noted that under my leadership as chair, the county legislature created a program to send millions of dollars to the city of Buffalo to help with infrastructure needs and road needs. I was not somebody that spoke out a lot about the city's budget because it wasn't the branch of government that I had oversight. The only reason that you see me commenting on this budget is because the acting mayor is saying that the only way he can balance the city's budget is through an action of the Senate, and I am a senator. So I tend to, mind my business and work in my area of government. And, I've been brought in on this issue. And so I can't help but point out that even though I haven't been outspoken about the city of Buffalo's budget issues in my tenure as an elected official, it doesn't mean I haven't noticed it. The city of Buffalo projected that they would make $4 million in cannabis sales revenue and did not. They brought in 260,000.
And so you're saying you are noticing it right now. You're saying you're noticing it. What do you say to the critics who say, well, gosh, she's been in local government really since 2017, and she's just now using this opportunity in the middle of a primary campaign to jump on with perhaps one other candidate, in this case, Senator Sean Ryan?
That's absurd.
Okay.
I was minding my business and I did not say anything about the city's deficit. I was focused on passing the state's budget until the acting mayor said that he can't pass his budget without an action from me.
Will you vote no if it gets to the state level? Will you vote no on these proposals if they're included in the budget?
I'm still reviewing these proposals. These are proposals that are asking for us to make drastic change and gamble on taxpayers' dollars within a matter of days or weeks. And that is to fit the Common Council's deadline to be able to vote on their budget. So as we started this conversation, I have my own budget to work on, and I'm prioritizing the state's budget. Whether or not what the city needs, if that will be in the state budget or not, that's not solely my decision. But I am reviewing the proposals because I live in the city of Buffalo. And so any consequences, which the acting mayor is saying that city of Buffalo residents and taxpayers will face, will fall on me too. I don't want my taxes to be raised, but I'm not a common council member and I'm not the acting mayor. And so a lot of the questions that you have should be directed at them. And the reason why you see me commenting now and issuing statements is because they are saying that they cannot do their job without me.
All right, very good. What other questions may you have about that in order to vote yes if it comes down to that?
Those questions are outlined in my letter. I want to know, the projected revenue stream of $40 million that is projected to be made. How did he come to that number? Is that based on a different city doing this practice? Do they have the same population? Do they have a deserted downtown like we have? Are people going to be interested in the bond market and buying our parking ramps? What kind of conditions are they in? Do they need capital improvements? How do we know that they are actually going to sell for $40 million? What if they only sell for $10 million? That's something to be considered. And then when it comes to creating another tax for travelers, a lot of the hotels that we have are near the airport and outside of the city of Buffalo. It makes more sense to me for the town of Cheektowaga to see a bed tax increase over the city of Buffalo. So one would have to weigh in from the tourism community. Experts from the tourism community would have to weigh in and share their sentiments of, do they think that this will be a deterrent from people actually renting or purchasing hotel rooms in the city of Buffalo? So lots of relevant questions. This stuff goes fast, but it also goes slow at the same time. And so I'm slowly getting the answers to those, but also working diligently on the budget that I have been elected to pass, and that is the state's budget.
And we will continue to check in with you and other state leaders on that very critical budget. State Senator April Baskin, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good night.
April.